Hi guys, this is Greg Kurzner.
And I'm Brent Bagley.
And we're with Resideum. Today we're going to talk about inherited properties. So if you've ever inherited a property, or perhaps you know someone who has, it is a pretty complicated situation. And we are here today to go through some of the challenges that you face maybe as an administrator for an estate or inheriting a property from a loved one, so that you're kind of clear on what happens, the whole process, and you can avoid some of the gotchas that happen. So let's talk about some of the main things that happen.
All right.
I've got Brent, and Brent's going to answer the questions today, and he's ready to rear and go. So what's the first and the biggest challenge that you think people who are inheriting properties face?
Well, I mean, the biggest challenge is that you're inheriting a property from more than likely a loved one, someone that has passed away.
Right.
And the difficulties there is going into the house, going through the personal items, just getting everything ready. Even if you're going to be putting it on the market, it's going to be hard, and some people find that difficult to do.
Yeah, I think because essentially we're talking about a real estate transaction, right? You're working your way through an estate with a home, and you're at the same time doing it while you're mourning, you're in grief. So I get that that's, real estate's an emotional transaction to begin with, but then when you're dealing with a loved one's home and with the loss of the loved one, it really is complicated. So that's something to bear in mind, that you really do have to try to create some separation between the grief and the business transaction that the real estate is involved with. So in addition to that, what other kinds of things do you typically find are challenges with the inheritance process, if you will?
Another challenge you'll face when inheriting a property is the fact that the mortgage payment doesn't stop. The taxes are still owed, utilities are still owed, you still got to mow the lawn and take care of those just regular expenses that you wouldn't think about.
And that's interesting, because I think a lot of people think, okay, when the homeowner passes, that the real estate all of a sudden sort of sits in some kind of void. But again, you're right, mortgage payments are due, taxes are due, and all that stuff continues. So in a case like that where the house has a mortgage on it, who pays for that? Is that something that you'd have to pay for, or what?
Yeah, I mean, basically it falls on whoever inherits the property. Now, if let's say there was money left in the inheritance along with the property, then yeah, you've got that money to help pay for those bills.
Okay.
But if you didn't inherit any money, you're going to have to pay that out of pocket.
Right, and that's a challenge for a lot of people. I mean, if some people are struggling to make their own mortgage payments, pay their own bills, are they going to be in a financial position to pay somebody else's bills while that house is whatever it's working its way through probate, right?
Yep.
So that's a big challenge, and especially when people aren't planning on selling the home to recoup the proceeds right away, they've got to budget that or see how they're going to be able to handle it financially.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. So we talked about the emotional challenges that inheriting creates, and we've also discussed the expense part. Mm-hmm. So what about location?
Well, challenge there is going to be if you live out of state or another city, you're going to have added expenses traveling to the property to check in on it. Mm-hmm. Or if you have to hire somebody to go and look in on it, if you're in another state, you're not going to want to drive every couple of weeks to check on the property.
So definitely being out of state's a challenge. Now, what about if the property's vacant?
All right, so with a vacant property, you're going to have, snooping, and there's possibility of vandalism, someone breaking into the house.
Yeah.
So you want to have someone checking in on it. And then you've got to make sure you've got the right insurance policy. So insurance policies will probably cover you for the first couple of months, but once the property's vacant, you'll have to have a certain policy called a vacant property insurance.
So my typical homeowner's insurance won't cover a vacant property?
No.
Wow, that's good to know.
And it's a lot more expensive than a typical policy as well.
Okay, gotcha. So a lot of times when loved ones pass, they're elderly, right? Mm-hmm. And I would think that many of the times too, the homes that they live in are older too. So what are some of the challenges with older homes?
So challenges you're going to face with the older homes are the homes are going to need repairs. You could need to fix the gutters, or there could be some leaky pipes.
Right.
Yeah, another thing that you'll face is the house. If you're looking to sell the house for top dollar, it's going to be outdated, and you're going to have to remodel the home to get it up to market standards. Oh
wow! So like new kitchen, new appliances.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that could get very, very expensive.
Yeah, that can get expensive, and put even more money out of your pocketbook.
Right. That you may not have.
That you may not have.
Okay. So I have another question. So what do you do with all the stuff that's in the house?
I mean, you've got some options. There's estate sales, yard sales, selling it on eBay.
And an added problem would be if you're not close by, how do you kind of coordinate estate sales or selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace, whatever? I guess that's pretty difficult as well.
Yeah, and there's companies that you can hire to do that.
Okay, but still that sounds like money, right?
Yeah.
So inheriting a property, a lot of people think is maybe a great financial windfall, a nice gift from a loved one, but it sounds like it can also be very stressful and very costly.
Yes.
If the goal is to ultimately sell the home.
Yes.
So what are the options? Let's say that they don't want to keep it in the family and they want to maybe sell it so that they can take the proceeds and pay for college or something else for the kids. What would they do?
So there's several options out there for you. If the house is in good condition, you could list it with an agent, or you could do for sale by owner. For sale by owner, I personally would do that option if I wanted to save on the commission and didn't want to have to pay an agent to do it.
But you also have to spend a lot of time and energy and putting signs up and taking phone calls and stuff like that,
Yeah, you have to do it yourself.
So Brent, but what if the house is not in good condition?
Well, if the house isn't in good condition, the best option is going to be to sell it to a professional home buyer like Resideum.
And what is a benefit that Resideum or another professional home buyer can offer that, say, a real estate agent or for sale by owner can't?
You'll get a cash offer, no inspections, we'll buy the house as is, no commissions, and no closing costs.
How about fast, though? Is it fast?
Yes, it is fast. We can close in as little as 7 days.
Great. So if you've inherited a property that needs work and you either can't or won't take the time, money, and energy to fix the home up, to get it to sell quickly in retail, then there is an option. And a group like Resideum is out there to be able to buy the home for cash.
Yes.
That's fantastic. So if your inherited house needs a bunch of work and you don't have the time, the expertise, or the money to do it yourself, Resideum buys houses in any condition in Metro Atlanta, and we can get you a fast, all cash, and no obligation offer in 24 hours. Click on the link below today and we'll get you your offer tomorrow.